Welcome. This presentation is delivered by Consulting DG. In this presentation, we'll review key components of the guide. This presentation includes project lifecycle, project phase, gate phase, project management process groups, and 10 knowledge areas. Let's start with project lifecycle, project phase, and gate phase. Other key component that interrelate one another during the project is the project lifecycle. It refers to the several phases that the project goes through from its start to its completion. A phase is a collection of logical related activities that end in the completion of one or more deliveries. It can be described by a variety of attributes such as name, numbers, letters, resource requirement, exit criteria, entrance criteria, etc. Also, we have different types of life cycle. To mention, predictive. The project scope, time, and cost are determined in the early phases of the life cycle. It's also known as waterfall life cycle. Iterative. The project scope is determined early in the life cycle, but time costs are determined iteratively as the project progresses. Incremental. The delivery is produced by a series of interactions that consequently add functionality with a predefined time frame. Adaptative. The detailed scope is defined and approved before the start of an interaction. It's also known as agile. Hybrid is a combination of predictive and adaptive life cycle. Another salient point is phase gate, and is a review of the end of the phase in which decision is made to continue to the next phase, to continue with the modification, or to end the project or program. Another important concept to mention is product life cycle. Product life cycle is a series of phases that represent the evolution of a product from the concept up to retirement. Generally speaking, along the product life cycle, different kinds of projects are created as shown in the graph. Now let's review project management process. The project life cycle is managed by executing a series of project management activities, known as project management process. Every project management process produces one or more outputs from one or more inputs by using appropriate management tools and techniques. Outputs can be a delivery or outcome. There are processes that are used once in the project, such as develop the project charter. Other processes performed more than once, such as acquire resource. Another continuously, such as define activities in a rolling way planning. Now let's explore project management process groups. Project management process groups is a logical grouping of project management inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs. Project management process include initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. It's important to remind that project management process groups are not project phases. So we have initiating, are those processes performing to define a new project or new phases on an existing project by obtaining the authorization to start the project or phase. Planning, are those processes required to establish the scope of the project, predefine the objectives, and define the course of action required to attain the objectives that the projects were undertaken to achieve. Also, we have executing, refer to those processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project requirement. Monitoring and controlling, those processes required to track, review, and regulate the process and performance of the project, identify any areas which changes to the plan are required, and initiate the corresponding change. And closing, refer to those process performed to formally complete or close the project phase or contract. Let's have a look at 10 knowledge areas. A knowledge area illustrates a complete set of concepts, terms, and activities that make up an area of specialization of knowledge. On the first slide, we have project integration management, and include process and activity to define, combine, unify, and coordinate various process and project management activity within the project management process group. Project scope management. This includes process and activity to ensure that the project includes all the work required and only the work required to complete the project. Project schedule management is about to manage timely completion of the project. Project cost management. This involves planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, and controlling costs. Project quality management include process and activity that incorporate the product quality requirement as well as organization quality policy to meet stakeholder expectations. Project resource management include to identify and acquire management resource for successful completion of the project. Project communication management include process and activity and involve planning, collecting, create, distributing, store, management, monitoring and controlling, and ultimate disposition of the project information. Project management risk involve conducting risk management planning, identification analysis, response planning, response implementation, and monitoring risk. Project procurement management is about to purchase or acquire product service needed from outside the team. And project stakeholder management is about identifying people, group, organization that could be impacted or be impacted by the project by analyzing the expectation, delivering a strategy for engage in the project decisions. Thank you very much.